Yo, shalom, shalom. This is your brother JAHsh. And just want to give all thanks and praises to Yahweh, the Most High, through Allahayim. You know what I'm saying? This is just a quick vid over this latest video that on Whack News 102 with the pyramid going up, right? You're supposed to be elevated. You know. Sarasutin said a young pharaoh. So young pharaoh is on here talking about the Bible, quote unquote the Bible, right? The book. And he's explaining things, and we're just going to give it a little breakdown of how consciously these brothers are unconscious to their subconscious, right? Check it out.
Astrology. So when we're dealing with the Exodus, we have to understand that even the name Moses, in the time that Moses was alleged to have exist, was in the time of the ram.
Okay, so he just said Moses, right? And he said Exodus. Now, Exodus is an English word, right? An English word that comes from a Hebrew word. So, but what you don't hear Pharaoh ever tell you is the fact that these same languages and words come from the same so-called black people. And that Exodus doesn't mean a physical thing. See, that's where they catch you up, is they keep you caught up in the physical. They say this physical movement didn't take place, and they're just distracting you to what it actually means. It's a spiritual concept of going from one place of thought to the next. And another thing that these commissions want you to do is to believe that just because other languages have similar things, and as far as metaphysics is concerned, that one is higher than the next. But what y'all fail to understand is that languages are different and not meanings when it comes to spiritualness. When it comes to physical, then of course language is going to have a different meaning. But spiritually, that's why you will not hear the commissions tell you what the spiritual word in the metaneter is for Exodus. But they want to tell you that the Paleo-Hebrew word that translated down into Exodus only means to move from a land to the land. This is why the subconscious is always beating these niggas up. You know what I'm saying? Because they are only conscious. They have no idea what the subconscious is, you know. Let's get more.
Now, it is undisputable that the Bible, even though it has an alleged creation story in the beginning, only covers 6,000 years worth of history. So now why is it important?
He says alleged creation story. But if you open up the so-called Bible, there is a creation story. And there's nothing alleged about it. Lying to you in front of your face.
Because, first of all, we have to deal with the composition of the Bible. The word holy, English word, comes from the Greek word helios, which means sun.
All right, and another thing that they like to do, the word holy comes from the Greek word helios, which comes from the sun. Now you see how he went directly to the Greek, right? But if he was to take the word holy and go into the Hebrew and then into the Paleo, you would see that it doesn't equal the sun, right? These conscious cats, woo, I'm telling you.
So why is this important? Because the sun does not revolve. It does not stand still on an axis with 9 planets orbiting around it. The sun actually travels, and it pulls these 9 celestial planets with it. It's called a vortex. And the sun...
Okay, now you see he's explaining all this stuff to you, but you got to remember this young cat is demon possessed. So while he's explaining to you the sun so-called traveling through a vortex, he's actually getting your mind to travel through a vortex that he's creating with his mind and his speech at this moment. Y'all don't understand the high level of sorcery that these guys are involved in. But I'm exposing it to you straight up. So now if you can't say no one that hasn't ever told you, you know what I'm saying? These are conscious cats now, mind you. unaware of the subconscious.
Travels at approximately 70,000 kilometers per hour around the galaxy. Now, why is it important? Because it takes 25,920 years for us to actually travel the galaxy one time. So now, why is it important? Because the Caucasian is only 6,000 years old.
And you see, there they go with the Caucasian again. I'm trying to tell y'all, these brothers claim that their science and their knowledge is high above all the rest and deeper and more esoteric and more metaphysical. Yet they cannot escape mentioning and bringing up the Caucasus, the so-called white man, the Hebrews. You notice that this video is about the Exodus. They cannot escape the fact. They will always have to use the Hebrews as reference. Right up until their deaths. Right up until. But they won't tell you that. And you shouldn't expect them to tell you that. Why? Because Yahweh is using them as an example so that you cannot be fooled by high levels of sorcery. This is high levels of sorcery right in front of your faces. Right? Look at these sisters. Unconcerned. They're just waiting. Right? Because they love them. Right? And unless Yahweh wakes them up, they will love them to their detriment. Pete.
And he created a fictitious reality that is only constructed for the last 6,000 years of him living under the sun. So now, why is it important? Because, and to prove that the Caucasian is 6,000 years old, just...
You see, and I'm running out of time here, so I'll jump up on another video. You notice how he referenced the sun, but according to KMTIANS, the pharaohs considered themselves the sun. So, is he not lying to you? Because the so-called Caucasian is not subjugated at this very moment by the sun. This guy here, who considers himself pharaoh, is not subjugating any Caucasians. They do not. So essentially, you know, y'all gotta really, really listen to the mind state of these brothers and understand that they're only keeping you in the secular realm. Because if you found out the things that they have to do in order to stay in that mind state, you would be horrified. And you heard it from me.